bet you're the kind of guy that would fuck a person in the ass and not even have the goddamn common courtesy to give him a reach around. I'll be watching you.
Hello, and welcome to analyzing Full Metal Jacket. Now, what is Full Metal Jacket, you may ask? Well, Full Metal Jacket is Stanley Kubrick's Vietnam masterpiece. Released in 1987, this was the movie adaptation of the book The Short Timers by Gustav Hasbard, and would turn out to be Kubrick's second to last film. The very last one being Eyes Wide Shut, which came out in 1999, just a couple of months after Kubrick's death. The first of the three films takes place at boot camp. Right off the bat, we get introduced to the insane yet entertaining Sergeant Hartman, played by R. Lee Ermey, through his intro speech.
Hell, I like you. You can come over to my house and fuck my sister. You little scumbag!
Then we get introduced to the recruits. The first one we get introduced to is Private Snowball, played by Peter Edmond.
Sir, Private Brown, sir! Bullshit, from now on you're Private Snowball. Do you like that name? Sir, yes, sir!
From there, we get introduced to James T. Davis, or Private Joker, played by Matthew Modine, Private Cowboy, played by Arliss Howard, and the main character of the bootcamp story, Leonard Lawrence, or Private Pyle, played by Vincent D'Onofrio.
Don't pull my fucking hand over there. I said choke yourself. Now lean forward and choke yourself.
The first part of the film focuses primarily on the story of Private Pyle, as he struggles on through boot camp, constantly making mistakes, getting abused by Hartman for weeks and weeks, even getting beaten up by his fellow recruits. Until he finally snaps, which then leads to this infamous scene.
7.62 millimeter. Full Metal Jacket.
Get back in your bunks! What is this Mickey Mouse shit? What in the name of Jesus H. Christ are you animals doing in my head? What is your major malfunction, numbnuts? Didn't Mommy and Daddy show you enough attention when you were a child?
Now, the irony is that Hartman wanted to make killing machines out of his troops, and Leonard became just that, a killing machine. Hartman's greatest success turned out to be the death of him. Towards the beginning of the movie, Hartman makes this crucial decision, which might be the worst decision in the entire movie.
Private Pyle!
Sir, Private Pyle, reporting his orders, sir!
Private Pyle, from now on, Private Joker is your new squad leader, and you will bunk with him. He'll teach you everything. He'll teach you how to pee.
Sir, yes, sir!
Hartman's harsh and painful teaching methods, combined with Joker's humane and gentle methods, tear a hole straight through Leonard's personality, and is the reason why I think he eventually goes mad and kills both Hartman and himself. Now, there's one more thing I'd like to touch upon in this first section of the movie, and that is the theory of the family relationship between the three main characters, Sergeant Hartman, Private Joker, and Private Pyle. If you take a look at this scene right here.
The fucking war will be over by the time we get up there.
Now you can kind of see that there's some sort of a family relationship between these three characters. Sergeant Hartman is kind of the strict father who wants the job done, Joker plays the role of the mother who is compassionate, and Private Pyle plays the role of the child. This also adds a lot of depth to Sergeant Hartman's last words before his death.
What is your major malfunction, numbnuts? Didn't Mommy and Daddy show you enough attention when you were a child?
And this was just the kind of clever writing that Kubrick was known for in his movies. Sergeant Hartman was by far the most entertaining character in the first part, and his absence in the second half of the film is one of the reasons why many people say the following: I saw the movie, but I only liked the first half. The problem here is that Kubrick made the first half so good that it takes away from how significant the second half really is. But that doesn't make it worse or less important. In fact, it usually takes multiple watches of Full Metal Jacket to fully understand the second half. This half follows Private Joker, who is now a Vietnam War news reporter. Joker suffers from what he refers to as the
Jungian thing, sir.
He has maintained his individuality while still having the killer instincts Hartman instilled in him. In Vietnam, he wears a peace symbol, but at the same time has "Born to Kill" written on his helmet. A combination that's commonly referred to as a sick joke in the movie.
You write "Born to Kill" on your helmet and you wear a peace button. What's that supposed to be, some kind of sick joke?
No, sir.
Joker has this sarcasm in individuality which separates him from the rest of the Marines, and is why he doesn't become the perfect killing machine that Hartman wanted. Here, he's poking fun at the stereotypical American soldier. When Joker reunites with Cowboy after a couple of years, he meets the perfect killing machine. Let me introduce you to Animal Mother, played by Adam Baldwin, the perfect Marine that Hartman wanted everyone to become.
Better you than me.
Pyle definitely got close to Animal Mother's level, becoming precise and meticulous.
Outstanding, Private Pyle! I think we finally found something that you do well!
They're even similar in the way they look. They have similar black hair, similar grin, and their eyes are constantly half open. This was intentionally done by Kubrick. On Animal Mother's helmet, there's even written the words "I am become death," which is a reference to J. Robert Oppenheimer's famous words, "I am become death, the destroyer of worlds." Now, there's one more main theme that has been going on throughout this movie so far, but it has been very pronounced in this last part, and that is the concept of individuality. Let me just quickly run you through it. Now, when we first get introduced to these characters at the beginning of the movie, we get nothing from them. No name, no birth date, nothing. The only exceptions are the 4 main recruits and the nicknames given to them by Sergeant Hartman. Those being Gomer Pyle, Private Joker, Private Snowball, and Private Cowboy. And this is the only sense of individuality that's given to these characters. Now, the only character who retains his individuality throughout the entire movie, or basically the entire movie, is Private Joker.
You're a real comedian.
Well, they call me the Joker.
Now, there is an importance in the sentence "basically the entire movie." Towards the end of the movie, our titular characters get attacked by a Vietnamese sniper. Joker gets the chance to kill the sniper, but fails, like Hartman warned him about during recruit training.
Killer instincts are not clean and strong. You will hesitate at the moment of truth. You will not kill.
Luckily, he's saved by a fellow Marine. Right after this scene, all the characters start circling the sniper. And they curse to Joker what has just gone down, and what must happen. He must now kill a woman and a child, which is something he had questioned earlier in the movie.
Them are all certified.
Any women or children?
Sometimes.
How can you shoot women and children?
This scene right here displays Joker's transformation from a sarcastic comedian to the killer Hartman always wanted him to become. An interesting concept that I've seen online states "reborn to kill." When Joker finishes the job and is congratulated by his fellow troops, he realizes just what has happened now. He has lost the only thing that made him different from everyone else, his innocence. He is no longer an individual and is now a part of the system. Throughout the entire movie, Joker has always had his good side in control. But towards the end of the movie, when he killed the sniper, he lost it. He became an emotionless killer who became a part of the system. And from that statement, we can conclude that the theme of the movie is the duality of man. Now, on the surface, Full Metal Jacket might just look like any other war film, but it goes way deeper than that. Taking into consideration that the theme is the duality of man, it would only make sense for Kubrick to use the US Marine troops to display the subject. Realistically speaking, looking at the theme by itself, it isn't even a war film. What I mean about this is that the story of Full Metal Jacket focuses primarily on the good and bad side of characters such as Joker, or Leonard, or Hartman. It focuses more on the duality of a single individual rather than the entire Vietnam War. Now, it wouldn't be one of my projects without a section talking about the music. Ever since 1968, when Kubrick released 2001: A Space Odyssey, the music in his movies have been spot on, and Full Metal Jacket is no exception. Now, there are 3 music moments in this movie that I want to talk about. The first one is at the beginning of the movie. As we see the recruits get their hair cut, Kubrick plays Hello Vietnam in the background. This song symbolizes that the soldiers are now leaving everything they know to fight the war. A very fitting introduction to the film, which gives us nothing about the characters, but already gives us a lot of information for what's going to happen in the plot. Then the second song is possibly the biggest irony in the entire movie, and it comes at the final scene. All the soldiers, who are now trained killers, are walking along singing a song about the children's character. This symbolizes that all innocence is now lost. Now, the last song I want to talk about comes during the credits. Kubrick plays the song Painted Black by the Rolling Stones. And this is not interesting so much for the song itself, but rather the theory circulating the song. The theory states that the lyrics is about a Vietnam War veteran who suffers from PTSD, or post-traumatic stress disorder. This would make a lot of sense in Private Joker's life, particularly when he eventually returns home. But then again, Mick Jagger did state that this song is about a bad acid trip, so I suppose we can just scratch this idea. That's all. Thank you for your attention.